Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and being a producer of Wrestle Massacre as well as Inside Movies Galore, I am David Streggy, and welcome to Delusions of Grandeur. Enjoy the reviews. I certainly did.
Okay, Dave, that's it. Screw you and your college flunkies. I've had enough of this from you and from everyone else. I know what you guys are trying to do. Break me down, drive me out of the force. Well, it's going to take a hell of a lot more than a lame prank like this to get Curtis Mooney to throw in his badge, so fuck you. Over.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Delusions of Grandeur. I am David Striggy, and here I have some more videos to talk to you about. So I was sent a screener of an extreme horror film called Mary Quinn, and it was directed by Extreme SLV, director John, believe his name being that of John Shaw, and he is one of the nicest people that I have come across as a filmmaker, and I just absolutely have enjoyed watching some of the extreme films that he's been directed or been part of. So in any case, moving on, before I move on, I was very honored by him sending me a screener for his film, and it says, "Hey David, I look forward to your review. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Best wishes, John." So I did enjoy the film. I did not feel like he had as much passion in this project as he did in his previous films. I think that he can go definitely a heck of a lot more extreme. I think that his family kind of somewhat holds him back from achieving the extreme violence that he wants to. So, moving on to another sterling produced film, working with Polonia Brothers Entertainment. A film called Robo War. And definitely a cool title. I believe it was also called Battle Robots at one point in time, but it's directed by Mark Polonia, and it wasn't bad. Planet Earth 2039. The superpowers of the world have destroyed the major continents with nuclear warfare. The new order, a fanatic cult ruling with the doctrine of militaristic slavery mixed with a pseudo-scientific fixation on large robots, once used by humans to mine the center of the earth versus the fighters, living like scavengers while trying to avoid death. The death troops of the New Order. So the film stars Danielle Donahue, Marie DeLorenzo, James Kelly, Jeff Kirkendall, Tim Hatch, and James Carolus. Carolus. So I definitely like this cover more than I do the film. The film is in the style of like Robot Wars or Robot Jocks, so to speak. So it reminds me a lot of like Pacific Rim, kind of a thing with Transformers or not really Transformers, but yeah, BattleBots per se, and it wasn't bad. I mean, it could have been worse. And I like how Mark Polonio was able to work with his budget and work things out. And I'm glad that um, this got. I think it'll work better under this title, even though it was originally called something else. The biggest thing that I was disappointed in was the behind the scenes stuff because it ended up being about all of his past work. Mark Polonia just talked about his past work and didn't really talk about his experiences on the set really all that much. So that being as a bonus feature, he talked about his entire work um, all the way up to this point, and he very, very minimally mentioned uh, stuff dealing with the film itself. And on a future release, I would like to see him try to talk about the film that this is, instead of going through a historical synopsis of his filmography with David Sterling, going through the what kind of cameras he used, what it felt like on the day of the set, stories that were behind, you know, how he did his filmmaking process. Those are things that you want to see in the making of documentary, and there wasn't much of that. So, in any case, moving on to a movie called Blood Donors, or yeah, Blood Donors, which is also directed or a Sterling Entertainment produced film with Higher Concept Pictures. Um, Stars Bobby Jones, Boris Dana Artonovich, and it is directed by Kenny Carpenter. It is a film that is set for 2019, and it's originally from an earlier date, but Blood Donors is a vampire film with teeth. His bartender turns out to be a vampire queen that sends him out on the town as an abomination hell bent on destroying everything in his path, on the way to conquering his pre-vamp prey. Um, Now, this is a shot on SOV, shot on video film that has a lot of energy, especially from um, the main actor, who I believe is Bobby Jones, and there was a lot of tension during the film, from what I understand, with Kenny Carpenter and Bobby Jones, and they parted ways um, during production, and eventually he was able to. Kenny Carpenter was able to get his rights for this film back, and I think he did okay with it. I mean, there was a lot of dark scenery, so Um, I understand that it's very possible that this film might not have been as well received at the time, but shot on video film has gotten more popular. And I think there were some things done in this film that were smart, and though some of it might have been imitative, I think a lot of it was creative, and I'd, I'd love to see more from this particular director. So, in any case, moving on to the new Suspiria, which stars Dakota Johnson, Tilda Swinton, Maya Goth, and Chloe Grace Moritz. It's the new Suspiria, and very different film. Um, this director actually worked with Amazon Studios and Lionsgate to get this film out there, and yeah. So this is Suspiria. I like this fresh take on it, but then again, I also do not. I'm very much a fan of the original. The original was definitely something to remember it for, and I just absolutely enjoyed the music behind the first one as well, and the supernatural. Whereas this one didn't really have much of a supernatural vibe to it. So I don't know. I mean, there were some historical things that I don't think needed to be in it, but you know what? It is its own thing. It is its own animal, and I'll let others decide whether they enjoyed it or not. Um, so uh, there is a movie that I really liked, that I hope they continue this tale, uh, and this is in fact signed. And it's called Rotten Tail. It's based on a comic book. And this is the Blu-ray DVD combo set. Um, and I guess you could say this is kind of an Easter film. Easter will never be the same again. Geeky fertility research scientist Peter Cotton is bitten by a mutant rabbit and changes into the half-human, half-bunny Rottentail. What's a boy to do? Why, take a hippity-hoppity trip home, of course. Peter begins a bloody killing spree of revenge that culminates in his childhood hometown of Easter Falls. From Source Point Press, along with Skiba Vision. This film was directed by Brian Skiba, and it stars Dominique Swain, William McNamara, uh, Tank Jones, Gianni Giapaldi. Corin Namick plays Peter Cotton. And if you know anything about him, he played Harold in The Stand. And I absolutely loved him in here. I mean, he is definitely older and whatnot in here, but for being older, I think he pulled off the grown-up Peter Cotton very well, and it kind of played into the characteristics of the transmutation of from him going from human to becoming rabbit, and I like the transformation of him, because his characteristics kind of seem to go with this particular character or creature. So, well done, Mr. Skiba. And I'm glad that I was able to pick up a copy of Rotten Tail on its pre-order. Though I wish I could have gotten to be part of the campaign. Uh, so this is a film called The Bite. I love the cover of this. First of all, this was put out by Cult Movie Mania, and it was directed by Joel Wynkoop and Chris C. Conklin. Um, so Joel Wynkoop is one of the actors in this film, and he also starred with M. Catherine Halsey-Brooke, Gustavo Perez, Karen M. Thomas, Frank Burns II, Mark Nash. So I like that this is. I did buy this actually from Joel himself, and looks like he actually drew something here. Thank you for your purchase. I guess he likes to draw. He drew a werewolf of some sort, or could it be a vampire? But in any case, um, he wrote on the back here, "To David, thanks for the support." So, it's let me read what this is about. Welcome to Hell on Earth. Freaks fighting and bloodshed fill the post-apocalyptic streaks as a mysterious disease called the Bite turns innocent people into bloodthirsty vampires. Walking amongst them is Nick Hazard, played by Joel D. Wynkoop, a survivalist out to kill the savage creatures, save the world, and avenge his wife's death. And what's interesting is that his real wife is actually the wife that they're talking about. So, feast your eyes on this classic Tampa shot on video insane O-Fest from King of the B movies, Joel D. Wynkoop. So, glad I picked up that particular um, film. And I believe I picked it up straight from him. So this is my first copy of the movie. Well, not my first copy, but this is my second copy of the movie Tapeworm, which I have the first copy that the director put out, and then it was distributed by him again, and this is also signed. It says it's an abortion bin production. It's called Tapeworm. And Tapeworm is directed by Brian Hirschbein. Frank, played by Frank, played by Brandon Herschel, awakens one day to a fanatic phone call that leads to the investigation of the murder of his close associate. When all of Frank's leads begin showing up dead, Frank finds himself the target of the murderers he seeks. Jumped in an alley infected with a virus, and with his body beginning to transform, Frank finds he must rely on the help of Sam, played by Bill Stoneking, a simpleton repairman, to help stay alive and keep his physical form. Part body horror, part sci-fi, part noir. Tapeworm is a story of transformation and the difference between who one believes they are and who one actually is. So, there we have it. This copy of Tapeworm. And this is number 9 out of 25, if you can see the number on it. So this was a very limited edition of the film. So, in fact, there is a card for it. Abortion Bin Productions. Apparently, Jason Toth had something to do with this film, possibly, and maybe Abortion Bin Productions might have been what Toxic Filth might have been at one point in time. So yeah, I had that one. So next I have a film that is inspired by true events called Family Possessions. They've inherited much more than a house. So you gotta love that front. Uh, so this was put out by High Octane Pictures, with Horse Creek Productions. It is a film directed by Tommy Fairclough, which I believe he is known for quite a few other films. A young girl, Rachel Dunn, inherits the mansion of her estranged grandmother. Rachel and her family move into to the house to start a new life, but once there, strange and unexplained occurrences begin to happen. Rachel uncovers a secret that had been hidden from her, and she soon realizes that some family secrets should remain buried. So I'm glad I ended up picking this particular film up, um, and look forward to watching it eventually. So thank you so much uh, for letting me tell you about these films. I have a couple more, and then I'm going to get off here. So this one is signed Woods Are Scary, and it's directed by Chicago director Michael Wade Johnson, and Michael Wade Johnson is in charge of Faux Pas Films. And this particular film it looks like it actually has film laurel from 2008 Fright Night Film Fest. It was an official selection. So this film is called Brimstone, not to be confused with the somewhat Western Brimstone that came out. I'll read the back here. Tandra, a Gothic film student in Kentucky, is trying to cope with the mysterious deaths of her best friends when she finds a journal telling of disturbing events that happened at a place in Tennessee called Brimstone. She sets out in the woods to find the answers. It is there that she comes face to face with her demons and contends with the evil within the darkness of Brimstone. Can she survive the terror? So, I've attempted to start this film a couple of times. It is a rough start to watch. I will eventually watch this. I'm very interested in Michael's work because I have quite a few films that I still have left to watch from him, especially since I believe I've got another. I believe I've got one of his right here. Um, Turns out this is a short film from him. I have not watched it yet as well. And I don't have a case for it because he didn't have a case for it. All he gave me was um, a paper CD thing to have this in. And this is called Creature of Habit. It says a short rom-com drama by Foul Paw Films. Don't know if you can see that, but yeah. That was one of the films that he sent that I bought from him that he sent um, without a case or whatnot. When I bought films from Foul Paw Films, I bought nearly all of them at once. Um, and I'm still waiting on Hermetic Web, which is an anthology, and he keeps saying that it's being edited, and he just can't find the time to do it. Well, you just got to sit down and do it. That's the thing. You can't just be partying all the time. You got to finish what you start, Mr. Michael. So I'm looking forward to the anthology and what he can bring. So the next film is an animation that my best, well, my good friend Septum Sin uh, told me was on DVD, and it was on DVD with Discotheque um, and Filmworks, and it was produced and directed by Carl Masick, and it was a Japanese animation that I saw on the Sci-Fi Channel. It is called Lily Cat, um, Lily C80, and it's got a Japanese version and a U.S. version. But let me read the back here. 2264 AD. The starship Seldez is sent into deep space to explore a newly discovered planet. The journey will take 20 years. The Seldez crew of 13 mixing experienced space jockeys with eager but naive scientists are prepared for anything except an unseen alien invader with an insatiable appetite. Along with the ominous force that takes over the ship's controls, the voyage becomes a grim struggle for survival in a vessel which has become a coffin orbiting the paradise world, which was to be its destination. Originally released on VHS from Streamline Pictures, Lily Cat is finally available on DVD with the English language dub and the never before seen Japanese language version with English subtitles. So I was ecstatic when I heard that this film was what it was. I'd seen bits and pieces of the because this was based on like The Thing and some other and another horror film, um, and it was in space, and it had this seedling like looking thing, and it kept taking over the bodies, and it was animated, and I kept remembering this. Um, so I was I was not certain what the title was, and it was thanks to Septum Sin versus the World that I now have a copy. So, thank you so much, uh, uh, Mr. Sin. So, I actually put money into the campaign for this particular film. It's called Book of Monsters. It is from director Stuart Spark, And he is director of the production company Dark Rift Films. Um, I believe that he before this did a feature called the Creature Below. But this particular film, let me tell you about it. This is specifically only Blu-ray, and evidently you can buy this on Epic Pictures because that's part of. I was very disappointed in the director of this film. Firstly, because he didn't give this to us before it came out. He had to wait until it was out to send it to us, and that's not cool. I don't believe in that. The Kickstarter or the person who put money into the film should not have to wait for the public to get their film. Part of the cool thing of putting money into these films is getting the film ahead of time from the others, from the rest, and that's not cool. So I don't like that he actually followed the rules. He should have just given it to us or sent it out to us 2 weeks before or something like that. 2 weeks wouldn't have done any harm. And the film is signed. I don't know if you can see it. And yeah, so it's got a little photo of the film on the inside. This is also signed. So yeah, Book of Monsters is the name of the film, and so on and so forth. I started to watch it. I don't think I finished it. I do need to restart it again and watch it. So James Cullen Brassak's film with Sick Junkie Pictures, which was distributed by MVD Visual. This particular film is called To Jennifer, and it stars Chuck Pappas and Jodie Barton. Joey suspects his girlfriend of 2 years. Jennifer is cheating on him. He is so convinced that he enlists the help of his cousin, Stephen, to create a video diary of his journey to catch her in the act, as well as to document the heartbreak she is putting him through. In an attempt to make her feel guilty, he intends to give this tape to her after catching her. Very interesting idea. I want to watch this because there is another film that another director actually did in the style of this film. So I do want to watch this film. It does look unique. I did buy this from time to time. Ron Bonk has sells movies that he can get from certain people, and he sells them for $1. Um, and this was one of the ones that he had for sale in his dollar dollar sales. He, from time to time, actually can have some cool stuff. if he comes across some cool stuff. I got quite a bit from the dollar stuff because at times I've got to buy cheap. So, in any case, thank you for listening. Have a great day, evening, or morning, wherever you are. Hopefully, you enjoyed this small, a little video. I'll have some more fairly soon to talk about. So, I just enjoy sharing the stories that come behind some of the things I collect, and hopefully you just enjoy listening to what I have to say. Thank you for coming to my channel, and have a great day, evening, or morning, wherever you are. And hopefully you're collecting these like I am.
You were good, kid, real good. But as long as I'm around, you'll always be second best, see?